to study section 5 of CS 102, and we're going to be going into programming languages now. Then I would like us to know the contents of what we are going to be treating in study section 5. We'll have basic programming language 1, basic programming language 2, then we have visual basic programming language. These are the things that we're going to be dealing with in study section 5. So we are going to start with basic programming language 1 for today. But before we go into basic programming language 1, I want us to know the things that we are supposed to learn under programming in basic. We should be able to understand programming in basic. We should be able to use basic programming language to display outputs on the monitor and to understand basic expression and statements. They must be able to write and run a visual basic program. These are the things we have to learn in study section 5. Then now let's go to basic programming language 1. Basic is an acronym, and what does basic mean? Basic means beginners all-purpose symbolic instruction code. That is the meaning of basic. It's an high-level programming language. Like you know now that we have two categories of programming language. We have the low-level language, we have the high-level language. And under the low-level language, we have the machine language and the assembly language. So, but basic is an example, is a type rather of high-level programming language. It's user-friendly and is also a general-purpose language. Basic was developed by two men. It was developed by Professor John G. Kennedy and Thomas Quart of Dartmouth University, and it was developed in the early 60s. We have different versions of basic. Different versions we have are Quill Basic, Cube Basic, GW Basic, Tuber Basic, True Basic. But for the purpose of our class, by the time you come for your practical section, you might be using either Q Basic or Quick Basic, depending on the technologies that will be taking you. Now let's go to what are the simple rules for basic. Simple rules that you must apply for Q Basic or Quick Basic. The first rule is that to be able to identify a line containing a basic statement, the line must begin with a line number or label. It must either begin with a line number or a label. That's the first thing that you must take note of. Then two or more basic statements cannot have the same line number. Cannot have the same line number for two or more basic statements. Then another thing is that the correct syntax must be used. The correct syntax must be used, otherwise it will not execute. Not to talk of generating results. So must use the correct syntax. So these are the simple rules that must be followed for either Q Basic or Quick Basic. And we have what we call character sets in basic. Different character sets that we have. We can have the alphabets, which is from A to Z, and it can either be in the lowercase or the uppercase. When we say lowercase means lower small letter. When we say uppercase means the capital letter. Then we can also have digits 0 to 9. When we say digits 0 to 9, it can either be signed or unsigned. And for signed data, what does that mean? Signed data means it will only be old variables that contains both positive and negative numbers. That's for signed data. Then for unsigned data would only be able to hold 0 and positive numbers. That is for unsigned data. Then we can also have special characters. We can have special characters like serif, division. We can have left brackets, right brackets. Can have exponentiation, hash, and so on, as you can see. So these are the basic character sets that we have. Then we also have what we call reserved word or keywords. These are applicable for all programming languages. All programming languages have their own peculiar keywords, or we call them reserved words. But for basic, these are the keywords that we use in basic. Like we can have CLS, rem, let, input, print, read, data, open, close, end, for, next, do, loop, while, when, dim. So you can have various keywords like this in basic. Then we also have what we call variables. Variable is a name that is given to an object. We can also say variables are containers that hold values. You can say they are containers that hold values, and this variable can be subject to change during program execution. Variable can be grouped into two. We can have the numeric variable and we can have the string variable. When we say the numeric variable can be either the integer or the real numbers. When we say integers means it can be positive and negative whole numbers. And when we say real, it can be positive and negative numbers with fractional parts. Then we can also have strings. String are used to represent non-numeric information. They are used to represent non-numeric information like name, address, telephone number, and other textual messages. Then how do we declare variable? Or we say how do we define variable? How do we declare variable? The first thing that we must take note of is for us to be able to declare variable, the first character must be an alphabet. As the first thing, then another thing is that for declaring variable, the string variable must end with a dollar sign. It has to end with a dollar sign. It must end with a dollar sign. That's for a string variable. So these are examples that we have here. We can have a dollar sign, some dollar sign. Since it is ending with a dollar sign, that shows it's a string variable. And now let's go on to constants. Constant is defined as a quantity that remains fixed. It doesn't change. It's from that English word. It does not change throughout the execution of the program. And constant can be classified into two. We can have the numeric constants. We can have the string constants. And we can assign constants to variables. So that means we can have a numeric constant. We can have a string constant. The numeric constants are assigned to a numeric variable, while the string constants are assigned to a string variable. And these are examples of numeric constant that we can have. Now let's go to operators. Operators, what are operators? They define the action that we perform on operands so that we can obtain a result. They define the action that perform on an operand so that we can obtain a result. Like we can have an example is if you have C equals 1 plus 2. 1 and 2 there, they are the operands. Then the operator there is the plus. It is the one telling us the action that we are performing on the 1 and the 2. So we have different types of operators in basic programming. We can have the arithmetic operator, relational operator, logical operator. Now let's take them one by one. The arithmetic operators are used for arithmetic operations. Like we can have the exponentiation, we can have the multiplication, we can have division, and we can have MOD, which is modulus. Then for the modulus, I know you would have done this in maths. Like if you have 14 mod 3, when you divide 14 by 3, you have 4 remainder 2. So the result is the remainder that is generated. So the result is what you write down, and that's why we have 2. Then for the relational operators are used for comparing. So they are used for comparing operations. You have different relational operators. You can have the not equal to, the less than, the greater than, then it can be combined with equals to sign. And one thing about the relational operator is that relational operators are used to compare two strings or two numeric expressions. Use them to compare two strings or two numeric expressions. Then we have the logical operators. Logical operators are used to perform tests on multiple relations. They are used to perform tests on multiple relations. And these logical operators, what they do is that they return either true or false. It returns either true or false, and these are the examples that we have here. Then you can have operators that are being combined. But before I go to that, the logical operators we have are basically 3. We have the not, we have the and, we have the or. The not means complements. Then the and means conjunction. The or is disconjunction. Then, like I was saying, you can have operators being combined. You can have the arithmetic, relational, and the logical operators being combined. When we have something like this, what we do first is the arithmetic operation. The arithmetic operation is being performed first, then followed by the relational operator, then you also do the logical operator. Then we have precedence level in operator. We have precedence level. What does that mean? Precedence level means the order of execution, the order in which you have to execute a particular expression. And this is just similar to what we have in board mass. If you can still remember mathematics, in mathematics, when you are given an expression to solve, you must follow this board mass, where B means brackets, O means of, D means division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So same way, in basic, the operators would have to follow a precedence level. You have different precedence level. You can have exponentiation, which is the first, which takes the first precedence. Then you have unary operators. You have the multiplication and division, which take the third. Addition and subtraction will take the fourth. Then equal to, not equal to will take the fifth. Till we get to disconjunction, which is the seventh precedence level. And when you have parentheses in this, parentheses must be done first. You must perform the operation on parentheses first before you now follow the order of precedence. And that is why we say precedence normally alter the hierarchy of operation. So you must do the parentheses first before you now follow the precedence level. This also applies to board mass, if you can still remember. So these are the basic operators that we have. Thank you for listening. We'll continue with basic programming 2 in our next class.